I forgot to turn my microphone back on. Welcome to the Halloween special. There's always going to be technical difficulties when you start something new. Do you like my hat? I like my hat. So, for those of you who don't know, this is Gina the Frost. It's my significant other. He happens to be upstairs from me right now at the moment. And we're here tonight to share some ghost stories. And Frosty's going to explain more.
Yeah, so welcome everybody. I am out from behind the tech support desk and on the screen tonight. So a lot of you have known me from chat. So the idea for tonight and possibly moving forward is to do like an additional show where we talk about uh, the paranormal, just kind of the weird things that happen in the world that don't make the pages of the news. Um, and so that's kind of what we're going to do tonight. Tonight we want to talk about EVPs, so electronic voice phenomenon. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, and if not, we'll discuss that. And we also have asked people who've been watching Medium Jenny Lee stream to send in their own personal ghost stories, so we can share some of those tonight.
So, hello, Rose. I'm doing good today. Very good this week. I hope that you are doing well also. Hey, Little Wang. Thank you so much. Salty Frog's here. I like your little emoji, your emote thing. That's kind of spooky and appropriate.
Oh yeah.
Wanderer's here. Good, good. All right, let's just get right into it. We wanted to let you know that you still have time to share your stories with us. You can always share them in chat as we go along, especially when we're talking and something sparks your memory, and you can share something with us in the chat. Hey, Hellspawn Queen! Or you can send it to us in a private message on Twitch, and I think Frosty's going to put up the Discord link. You can put it in the chatting channel, and he'll be monitoring that for me since he has two monitors and I just have one. So if you want to share your own personal stories, which we did get a couple, we got a couple we'll be sharing with you later. All right.
All right, I just got our first poll going there. So there's a poll up now for have you ever had a paranormal experience?
So paranormal would be anything that you can't explain. It doesn't necessarily have to be ghostly. Anything. I guess we can vote in our own poll, right? Can we vote in our own poll? I can. I
I
just
can.
I just voted too. Who's had a
I have a
paranormal
feeling this is gonna be a
experience?
lopsided poll, but it's something to get us started.
Pretty much anybody that's watching a Medium channel, I think,
Mhm.
has probably had some sort of paranormal experience. All right, so
They'll get a little more. They'll get a little more stranger as we go
yeah,
on. So yeah.
Frosty has found some recent paranormal news for us to start out our evening. Go for it, Frosty.
Yeah. So one of the plans we have moving forward, if you guys enjoy this and we want to do this moving forward, is just to bring out a discussion of things that are, as I said before, spooky, weird, strange. As we'll talk about later with the possible names for the show, the things that go bump in the night. Um, And a good way to do that is to kind of keep up with the news that maybe kind of gets buried on the back pages. So tonight, the first story we have is from the Huffington Post. Former manager of DoD Aerospace Threat Program says UFOs are real.
What?
So something extraordinary was revealed today. This is at Huffington Post where you can find this story. Former high level officials and scientists with deep black experience who have always remained in the shadows came forward on one platformer one platform. These insiders have long-standing connections to the government agencies, which have programs investigating unidentified aerial phenomena, which is a new term we're using now. We're using UAPs and not necessarily UFOs.
What
The
is it
team
again?
includes 20
What
UAPs,
unidentified
uh,
flying
unid-
phenomena?
unidentified aerial
Oh,
phenomena.
aerial phenomena. What the
Hmm.
hell is that? We're calling it
The team
UFOs.
includes. So this includes a team of 25-year veterans of the CIA, Directorate of Operations, a Lockheed Martin Program Director of Advanced Systems at Skunkworks, and a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence. Um, Moving along in the story, this could represent the beginning of a trend towards a new openness on the part of the U.S. government. These people know more than any of us, and they will be releasing important data on UAP in the future. Uh,
UAP. What?
one gentleman named Louis Elizondo, who ran an important program at the DoD. He's a senior career intelligence officer who has experience with the U.S. Army, the Department of Defense, the National Counterintelligence Executive, and he was the director of the National
Ew,
Intelligence.
alien heads. Nice.
Served as the director for the National Program Special Management Staff in the Office of the Secretary of Defense. And he has basically said his quote was that UFOs are real and he has seen the
No, no,
evidence.
no. Not UFOs. What is it now?
Well, he refers to them as UAPs and UFOs.
UAPs. I think this is a bunch of BS. Like, we don't
Yeah.
know. Like what?
Mhm.
I will believe the transparency of the government when I see it.
Yeah, and
What?
this kind of piggybacks off, the stuff that the Navy's released recently.
Yeah,
Releasing the photos of UFOs
videos
and
and stuff. Yeah.
yeah. So,
What is this? What is this emote? The guy, does he have straws up his nose, or is that supposed to be ectoplasm? I got some
or is he
ectoplasm.
being probed? Nasal probes.
Hey, Lucy Lou. Yeah, I bet they do study
Wright
aliens there.
Patterson.
That's not far from
Right.
us, right? In that Virginia?
Wright Patterson, if I'm not mistaken, is Ohio. Am I
Oh,
correct about that,
I
Lucy
don't.
Lou?
I don't know.
Um,
See how much I know
well,
about that. Oh yeah,
yeah,
Ohio.
that's Ohio, man. Yeah. So, the
Frosty
thing
knows
about
his
that is,
geography way better than I do.
that's always been the rumor is that the Roswell 47, the craft that recovered, didn't go to Area 51, but actually were taken to Wright Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio.
Oh, I did not know that. Hmm.
Um,
All right, what's the next?
story story for number 2 tonight is fish found with parasite that eats its tongue and then becomes its tongue.
Oh God. Okay, hold on. Before we get into that disgustingness, the poll has finished, and 7 people
Okay,
voted, and they
one
all said yes. What a surprise!
100%.
Oh, your mom was stationed there in the '80s. That's cool. Oh, well then.
Does your mom
Did your
does your
mom ever
mom
study
have
some
any
aliens?
stories that she would like to share tonight?
I don't know. Even if she did, she probably couldn't.
Yeah, or stories that your mom has told you
Yeah,
that you would like to share tonight.
I don't know if you'd want to share
So
those. When you might get in trouble.
earlier Earlier this week, officials with the Texas Park and Wildlife Department took a photo of a strange parasite resembling a pill bug that is also known as the snapper choking isopod. According
What?
to San Antonio ABC affiliate KSAT, the fish containing the parasite was found at Galveston Island State Park. Officials jokingly suggested that the creature was a Martian before offering the true science surrounding the crustacean. The tongue eating louse attaches itself to the fish's mouth and then replaces the tongue. The parasite then survives in the fish's mouth by feeding on the host animal's mucus. The only known example of a parasite replacing an organ of its host.
This is disgusting. All right, we're done. Good night. So Lucy Lou said her mom has seen them, but that's all she could say.
Interesting.
Ooh, that's cruel. That's really cool, Lucy Lou. If only she could tell us more. Maybe one day she will be
That's
able
all
to.
she could say.
Maybe she will be able to if all the other people come out and, have
Mm.
transparency. That fish story is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. No, I don't want any tongue parasites. Thank you. What state was
Yeah.
that in?
Texas,
Okay, I'm
Galveston.
glad we don't live there anymore.
Hmm.
Tongue parasites. All right, what's up next?
uh, Halloween clowns back on the loose again. I
Oh,
think we remember
jeez.
it was 2016 in the UK. They had
It's been that long ago already?
yeah, it was 2016. There was a
Wow,
huge spike of creepy clowns
I
running around and
remember
actually committing
this.
crimes.
Yeah.
A man wearing a creepy clown costume was seen walking in the streets at night, possibly giving neighbors a shock in the run up to Halloween. The man was seen crouching behind bushes outside homes while dressed in the frightening costume, which was complete with a uh,
Salty.
clown mask. A witness snapped a photo of the clown as he walked the streets of
Soho in the rain?
Merseyside,
Oh,
which
that's
is
werewolves.
in Liverpool. The images might the images are reminding Brits of the so-called killer clown or scary clown craze that blighted Halloween of
Blight.
2016.
Blight's a wonderful word.
Yeah.
Well,
Um, they
I,
had there were reports of people dressed as clowns jumping out of strangers.
I think
Dozens of
we need a
witnesses
picture of
reported
this.
to police, and an
Recent
incident.
clown. Was it in England, you said, right?
Yeah, and some of them were like
Sighting.
caught with like knives and stuff like that, robbing cash
Eh,
machines. Um,
what? Is this a new one?
things got so bad that year in the UK that the police actually got stores to stop selling clown costumes.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember
Yeah.
that. I know that's an old one. I won't go hunting too much.
That could be a one-way ticket to a gun barrel to the face. Me and the clowns do not mix. Yeah.
Oh, yuck. Yeah. Clowns never really freaked me out, but just one's creepily standing somewhere with like a knife, I think would probably make me pee a little bit.
I have I'm not undressing on stream, but I have a little
Oh
clown
yeah,
here.
he's got his it shirt on. How appropriate. How appropriate.
Oh, we got okay. And then the last news story for tonight will be an interesting one. This one I think could spark a little bit of conversation in
Controversy.
chat.
Controversial.
This is from Fox News. California man sues a psychic who said she could remove a witch's curse from his ex. So a California man is suing a Los Angeles psychic he had paid for fraud because she allegedly claimed she could remove a witch's curse put on him by his ex girlfriend for $5,100. So
That's a
$5,100.
lot. I'm in the wrong
Last month,
business.
yeah, you're
I
not
need to
getting paid
I
that
need to get
for
into the
all your
curse
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 removals.
removal. That'll be up on my website next week. Curse removals.
If you need a curse removal chat, Medium Jenny Lee will provide that for the low
51
price of
$5,100.
$5,100, or we can say $5,099.99.
Yeah, there you go. Give you a penny discount.
Last month,
I
Mauro
agree, Lucy Lou. I
Restrepo.
agree.
Last month, Mauro Restrepo found psychic Sophia Adams' website that billed her as a PhD life coach and psychic love coach. This made the plaintiff more confident that he was speaking with a professional that could help him. The lawsuit filed Friday in Torrance Superior Court stated Adams gave Restrepo a tarot reading when he visited her office in Palo Verde Estates and told him that he had a
Mm.
mala suerte, or bad luck. But there by his ex-girlfriend when she hired, put there by an ex-girlfriend when she hired a curse-casting witch. So the question here is Medium Jenny Lee,
Should I be the
the
curse
curse
caster
remover,
or the curse
or
remover?
and the question that I have from that is, how much was it to put the curse? Is it, do you make more money putting the curse or taking the curse away? Adams allegedly claimed his family would be unhappy and in danger unless he paid her $5,100 to remove the curse. The news service reported Restrepo reportedly paid Adams a $1,000 deposit but said that she did not in any way help his marriage, the lawsuit said. Restrepo says he has suffered anxiety, sleepless nights, and is also suing for intentional and negligent infliction of emotional distress, along with negligence and civil conspiracy. He is asking for $25,000 in damages.
Lucy Liu said both, so you have a wider market. And then Wander pretty much said the same thing. Can
Yeah,
do
well, yeah, you could double
casting
dip. You
and
could put the
removal.
curse
Yeah.
and remove
Except I am very much in the belief that whatever you give out, you get back. You know, the whole
yeah,
threefold thing.
the
So
threefold. Yeah.
I don't really want to be handing out a lot of curses because then I get a whole bunch of them back. So no thanks.
So that does
To
it for
me,
tonight's spooky news.
as a psychic, to me, what it sounds like is that guy's an ass, and he had a girlfriend that he really pissed off, and then now his wife doesn't like him either. So that sounds like it's probably just a personal problem and not a curse. And maybe the guy was just such an ass that the psychic lady swindled him for some money. You know, I would never do that, but I don't know. That's a weird. That's a weird story. Karma. Yep. The the curse removal lady will also get her karma for taking away the curse, probably, because I'm sure that was just fungible. Whew, good stories, good stories. I know where you found all that craziness, especially that damn fish story.
Yeah, so moving forward, if you find some interesting articles that you want us to talk about on here through your social media feeds, or if you're an old guy like me, rummaging through news articles, shoot them our way through Medium Jaylee's email, or send them in chat
And
here or through direct
Discord.
message, and we'll talk about it. Yeah,
Did we put the
yeah,
Discord
Discord
link
would be a
in?
perfect place.
Put
I
that
have
up there.
not
Put it
put
in.
the Discord up.
What are
I
you
will do
waiting
it.
for? Just because you're on the camera now doesn't mean that you're not out of the
We
technical
need tech
job.
support for the tech
Yes.
support.
Yeah. Get on it. All right. While Frosty's doing that, we're moving along to a couple of spooky stories that we got from our friend Seismologist all the way in Portugal. Did you guys know that he lives in Portugal? So these are Portuguese ghost stories that he experienced firsthand. And the first one we're referring to as the Flower Girl. Oh, what's happening? I go out of the screen for a second. Oh, Frosty subscribed. Oh, thanks. My little bunny's head's cut off.
I needed the emotes. My sub would run out.
All right, so here's Seismologist's first ghost story from Portugal. I'm just going to read what he sent me. Maybe I'll add a few words. It was late at night. I woke up, turned myself around, and I saw a silhouette of a girl with a dress holding a flower. It scared me, and so I put myself under the blankets. Not long after, I wake up again, thinking it was a dream. So I take the blankets down, and the same thing still standing there. I slapped myself in the face to prove that I was awake, and I felt it. And then I was terrified. So I got back under the blankets and went back to sleep. Flower Girl, just standing in his room.
Yeah,
That's a little
pretty
creepy.
creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anybody else experienced waking up in the middle of the night and seeing a figure standing over them? I don't think I ever have experienced that.
I haven't experienced that, but I've known quite a few people who have.
I
That's
think.
a common story that I've heard from friends, or not seeing a person but seeing like glowing eyes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Those, yeah.
I feel like, well, we've lived in a place where we felt like someone was standing there, but we never saw them with our eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, Wanderer said he's
Wander
heard his
says,
name whispered at night when no one was in the room. Could be a loved one. Could be something creepy. Little Wing wants to see something like that. All right, we'll send the flower girl over. She's coming from Portugal. Salty Frog said, "Sure, I thought everyone has once."
Yeah.
That's interesting, Salty, that you think everybody had experienced something like that. Now, I've experienced plenty of weird stuff, but I've never experienced that one. I definitely have known that people were there, but I've never seen them with my eyes. We were just watching the movie Paranorman. I don't know how many people have seen that movie. It's an animated movie from like, I don't know, probably 10 years ago or so. And it's all about a kid who sees ghosts, with his eyes. And that's just not really something I experience. It's all in my mind. That's good, Salty. Setting boundaries. Yes.
Yep.
Good to set boundaries. All right, we have one more short little story from Seismologist, another one from Portugal. Um, so this one is, he says he was probably in about the 5th grade, and he was in his bedroom, and he remembered he'd left something in a bag that was out in the hallway. So he went out into the hallway to look, got down on his knees, starts digging through his bag, looking for whatever it is he forgot. And at that moment, he turned around to get up, and he sees a large, this is all capital letters, so it has to be giant, a large shadow moving in his direction, and he almost had a heart attack. It had everything, the legs, the arms, and so on. So he ran in the opposite direction to the living room, and his father asked, "What's happened?" And he says, "Nothing." And then he was brave enough to go back to his room after that.
Hmm.
How many people would not have wanted to go back to their room after they just saw a giant shadow figure come charging at them? Lucy has a story. Yay!
Mm-hmm.
Lucy says, "I was watching TV late one night when I was in middle school. I wasn't really supposed to be up." I'll see, there you go. "But I turned around and my grandfather was standing there. I had not seen him since I was 2, except in pictures. Later that night, when I went to bed, I started feeling cold rubbing on my fingers. When I mentioned it to my mom the next day, she said my grandpa would rub my hands when I would stand next to his hospital bed right next to where I saw him that night." Wow. That's a great story,
Mm.
Lucy. And
Yeah.
not scary, but were you scared? What did it
Mm-hmm.
scare you to see him standing there? Or was it comforting? Because some of these things, when it's somebody you know, it can be comforting instead of scary. And sometimes I wonder if when people are experiencing paranormal things, if it isn't their family members trying to get their attention and they just don't realize it, and because they're scared and they don't know what's happening and they don't understand it, that they start, you know, they get weirded out. Lucy said, "I was freaked out because he looked mad." You were
Oh, you're
watching
watching MTV.
MTV. Yeah. See? That's what I was
No,
thinking.
those are
As
no
soon
no.
as I read the part that said you weren't supposed to be up, I was like, yep. Somebody was coming to tell you to get off and go to bed. That's a great story, though, Lucy.
Yeah.
He was just,
Thank you for sharing that with
yeah,
us.
he was just watching out for you. Yeah, Little Wing wasn't allowed to do anything. There's so many movies she hadn't seen. It's crazy. It's craziness.
I, I mean, I feel like my parents weren't overly like strict on what I watched, but even they were like, I was allowed to watch MTV, but I don't think they liked the fact that I watched it. So
Yeah,
I don't think that's super uncommon.
there, especially, the time that we were watching it, there was a lot of videos, probably, like rap videos in particular, that had a lot of skin. Let's just put it that way.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. You weren't allowed to celebrate Halloween either? I didn't realize that. Well, that's really awful. I hope that you feel like you've made up
Well,
for it at this point in
that's
your
kind
life.
of like our sleepy town where we live, because Halloween falls on a Sunday this year, is celebrating it on a Saturday, which
Yeah.
strikes me just as kind of odd because if Halloween's on a Monday night or a Tuesday night, if it's on a work night or a school night, they still go out trick or treating that night.
Hmm.
So it strikes me odd that just because it's on Sunday that they're moving it to Saturday. It seems like that's definitely religious inspired
Very
move
much,
there. But
probably.
yeah,
I think so.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, Sunday's only for Jesus. Yeah. I think Frosty's right. Like I'm sure there's a lot of people in our town that feel that way, and so they probably think they're doing everybody a wonderful favor by moving it to Saturday, which, in the long run of things, it doesn't really matter, but it is kind of irritating. Like, I don't like celebrating holidays when it's not the holiday. I like to do it when it's supposed to
yeah.
happen.
If for me, it's just the fact that it could create like miscommunication because those things are
Hmm.
just put out like I mean, I just happened to run across that like through like a
Yeah.
Facebook
How
feed or
many
something
people
from the
aren't
town
going to know and then
aren't
still
going
have
to know.
go out on Sunday? So are we going to have
So
two
then we
nights
take
trick
our
or
yeah.
treating? I mean,
Yeah, we take our
yeah.
kids out on Saturday and we see kids out and then kids you don't know are trying to go around Sunday and nobody has their stuff ready and yeah, it just seems like it would be we had to turn
Oh
off
my
all the lights
goodness. And stay in
upstairs
the
and stay in the
basement.
basement. Uh,
That's awful. Awful. And now you're eating all Halloween candy before the trick or treaters come. Now look what happened to you. All right, let's move on to the next story. So, this is one of my personal ghost stories that took place in my parents' house when I was a teenager. I was probably, I would say, maybe about 17. And I was home by myself. It was after school. My mom was at work. My brothers were still at school because they were younger than me. My dad was at work. Nobody was home. And I was laying in my bed, probably doing homework or something. And all of a sudden, I hear the front door open and I hear someone run into the house. So my bedroom's like here, the front door's over here. I hear someone run into the house and they go down into the kitchen area. Then they run back to the door. And then this is the really creepy part because my bedroom door was open. It's the first door on the right hand side when you come down the hallway. I hear them run back up through the house and turn into the hallway. And I was like, my heart was racing, my adrenaline was kicked in because nobody's supposed to be there. And I have no idea what is happening. And I just know that somebody is going to come running into my view in the doorway. And I'm like terrified because I'm thinking it's really a person. Like there's really a person in my house and it's somebody that's not supposed to be here. But before they get to my door, they turn back around and they run back out the front door and shut the door. But no one was there. I got up, I checked, I looked out the window, I did all this stuff. There was no person. There was no person there. So there's no explanation for it if it was no physical person there that it had to be paranormal. And that was crazy because it was like a door opening and shutting twice and I like someone running. Like that's how heavy the footsteps were. They were running across the floor. I mean, it was terrifying to have that happen when I was home by myself. And I'm just like still a child. So that was I guess
hmm,
probably one of my
yeah,
first actual experiences like that. It was very creepy. Nothing
yeah.
ever happened like that again. It was just that one time. And my parents still live in that house. And they have weird stuff happen, but nothing to that extent. I can't explain that one.
Hmm. Has anyone had any experiences like that, like actually hearing footsteps and
Yeah, footsteps are a pretty normal one, I would say. Does anybody have any footstep stories? Hearing somebody walking around where there's not supposed to be anybody, like the attic or down the hallway or anything. I think this.
So,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, just for an update on what we have coming up tonight, because this is such a different kind of format than what we usually have when you're doing a stream. So we do have a lot of other stuff coming up tonight. We have more personal stories, but we also have some EVPs tonight that we want. Some of these EVPs are things that we've recorded in our own ghost hunting and with a group that we ghost hunt with locally. We have so some of these are EVPs that me and Medium Jenny Lee have recorded, and we also have some EVP. We have one EVP that I added to the show kind of last minute. I bothered Jenny Lee about. It's probably the most to me it's either the best EVP ever recorded or it's a complete hoax. So we're gonna have you guys listen to that tonight.
Either way, it's the creepiest, most terrifying EVP I've ever heard.
Yeah, and I trust the group of people who released it. So I think to me, it's you don't believe in EVPs, that's the one that would change your mind. I think so. If you're not sure about EVPs, stick around for that later tonight.
So Lucy said that she hears banging but no footsteps. Rose hears
Banging.
knocks, sometimes on the wall, and salt. Of course, Salty Frog said, "Not since she salted the crap out of everything." And Lucy said, "Including the frog."
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, because she's Salty Frog. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Yes, I do think the salt works. I have used salt water in a spray bottle before, and that seems to work for me. Yes, warning, this is some scary stuff.
Yeah, and
That one
I
is
guess
that one is scary.
That's something I could have mentioned earlier, but I don't know. I don't know if anyone in this chat is familiar with that, but I did listen to a guy named Art Bell for many, many years. I used to work graveyard shifts and stuff when I was a younger man, and I came across Coast to Coast AM and Art Bell back in those days, late '90s, and I stayed a listener of Art Bell, and then introduced to other shows for a long time. And Art Bell died a few years back, and so I thought it would be interesting when me and Medium Jenny Lee were kind of talking about things. About doing a show like this. I used to stream on Twitch to do the video game kind of stuff, and I kind of stopped, and that's when Medium Jenny Lee started this channel. And so we were talking about a way to do something kind of different because, of course, Twitch has thousands and thousands of people playing video games, and I don't have much to offer there. So we thought about
not unless you get in the hot tub, or
I could get in the hot
you
tub.
wear a Speedo, or a bikini top or something.
Yeah,
and you gotta have the angle where the camera's way up high so they can see your cleavage.
Yeah. You can see my.
And you'll have a lot. You'll have a lot of viewers.
Not cleavage. So anyway, yeah, that was. If you don't know who Art Bell is, I'll look him up. Especially if you're into medium stuff, he's had lots of really big guests, and that's something we want to do in the future. So if there's someone you would like to see us interview and have on the show to talk about things, always send it our way.
We have a lot of ideas, but we're just getting started. Lucy said she has made her own cleansing salt, but has yet to use it. What did you put in it, Lucy? Or did you just bless it or something? Or did you make a concoction of something with salt? I'm interested to know. This will lead well into the next story, which Frost Giant is going to share about a really creepy place that we used to live. It was And I have new information about said place after he shares his side of the story.
Mm, yeah. So yeah, so we when we were younger, we moved to a place out into the country. Not to really give away the cities and stuff that we live in, but we do live in Virginia. So we moved out into the rural part of Virginia, at least much more rural than we had lived previously. And we moved into a place there that had like five acres or so. It was out there, definitely not overpopulated. Um, Medium Jenny Lee was pregnant and
With the
had
Wanderer, happens to
with
be.
the Wanderer. Yeah, and we had and so that's where we lived when he was born. At the time, just like I still do now, I was played lots of video games and stuff like that. Um, and medium Ginny Lee, because she was pregnant or tired from being a new mother, would go to bed fairly early. Now, as was typical with that, I'm kind of a late night guy. Like I get a second wind about 11 o'clock, so it's hard for me to go to bed early. I like to stay up late. Um, but that house, it always felt like there was someone staring at us. Like always, someone was watching. What is it? Does it feel like
And
somebody's
it's
watching
watching
me?
me.
So, yeah. So that's the way it felt at this house. Uh, Whenever like Jenny would leave the room, or you were there by yourself at night, it was just eyes on you the whole time. It would make me really nervous. And so I would say, well, I'm not going to play my video games. I'm just going to go to bed with you tonight, And so I'd go to bed when I wasn't tired, and I'd be laying in bed, and uh, I could feel a presence at the door in our room of someone just still kind of staring at me. So bad, I was a grown man who would lay in bed and be afraid to get out of bed to go use the bathroom or get a drink of water or anything. It was just very unsettling.
Good word, good word.
Once 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 the Wanderer was brought into the world, we had a room on the other side of the home that was going to be his nursery. But we could not get him to stay in there. We would put him in his crib in there, and he would just scream and scream. And we would take him and bring him into our room and lay him in a crib in there, and he would, go fast asleep. So, um, yeah, that was kind of the experience we had there. Me and Jenny both, I think, felt very uneasy to get up in the night. Neither of us wanted to stay out in the other part of the house by ourselves, and we felt like the room that we had turned into his nursery and kind of that whole other side of the house was like you're not allowed in here kind of feeling. I never had any personal experiences with like necessarily seeing anything or being touched or anything bad happening, but I did get it was just kind of an ominous feeling. Like I felt like something was trying to be scary. In my opinion, it was at least trying to be scary. Um, and I think that kind of had an effect, a reason for us to kind of like want to get out of there.
Yeah, we didn't live
We
there
didn't,
very long.
it didn't ever really feel like it could be our home. So, yeah, so
Yeah, Wanderer
that
started
was one
out
of our
life in a
experiences.
haunted house. So Lucy said her cleansing salt is cinnamon, rose petals, Himalayan, and sea salt and rosemary.
There's my
That does
recipe.
sound really. I bet it does smell amazing, like Little Wing said. And then yes, Fumbi had visited that house, and he said it was scary. And Maggie's here. Hey Maggie, thank you, thank you.
Well, that's interesting, Little Wing, because I know maybe Fumbi isn't in chat, but I don't know if I knew that. I don't know if he had ever told me that he
Mhm.
thought that house was scary, also.
Yeah, I
So
don't
that's
know if we
interesting.
ever really talked about what we felt and experienced there at the
What
when it was happening to
I,
anybody
and
else.
a
Yeah.
little. a little background information on that house without bringing up anybody's name, but a friend of ours had come across some financial downtimes, and we were looking for a bigger place because our son was about to be born. And so he was like, "Hey man, I'm kind of struggling right now. I know you guys need a bigger place. If you'd like to come stay at my house and rent it, it would help me out and it would help you guys out." So it was kind of mutually beneficial. Um, but looking back at that situation, he had been very successful, and he had kind of was able to buy that land and stuff like that. Financially, he had done very well for himself. And then as he lived in that house, it seemed like his whole kind of life started kind of
Unraveling.
uh, unraveling. Yeah, that was a good
Hmm.
term for it. Just misfortune. There was just lots of misfortune, like
Hmm.
weird random things that would happen to him over and over again. And so to this day, I still wonder if they're if
Well, I have new information about it. But before I
okay.
share my side of the story, Maggie, I'm not doing readings tonight. We're just doing kind of like a podcast style show about ghosts and weird stuff. But I will be on tomorrow night to do my normal reading night. So you can get a reading tomorrow night.
Yeah, so if people are just joining, we're kind of doing we're spinning the idea out here of a new
Thanks.
show. So if you guys like this and you want to see more of it, definitely tell us
Yeah, let us know.
if you have ideas. Um, and yeah, so just let us know what you guys think. If you guys give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, let us know what you guys think about not turning the normal
No,
show, today's
having
normal
an
stream into this, but
extra show. Yeah.
adding something extra, whether it be on
Hey,
this channel
Foombe.
or on my channel
Yeah.
or however we decide to do that moving forward.
This would be an extra thing, not replacing my normal thing that I do.
Yeah.
So my side of the story is pretty much the same as Frosty's. Not wanting to stay in the living room at night by myself, not wanting to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. I would literally run from the bed to the bathroom and back because I could not stand to be in the sight of the door. I never saw anything with my eyes. I never heard anything. Um, there was never any weird noises, but it was just this overwhelming presence of just, I don't even know. It just felt almost like hateful. It was like hateful.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
recently, some of my medium classmates asked me to come be their guinea pig for their class that they were running. So they had a group of psychics, people practicing being mediums, um, and they were practicing reading information based on a haunting. So they asked me to come and sit in on their class and share a scary haunting story that I had personally experienced. And they were going to psychically tap into it and see what they felt. And this just happened like last week, I think. So it was a group of people. They all tapped in. I told my story. They tapped into it because we never really figured out what was going on there. Even as a medium now, I never really tried to go back and my head is starting to tingle right now. Oh my God. I never really figured it out, like I never figured this one out. But somebody in that group figured it out, and I absolutely 100% believe this is what it was because it just felt right. They were all seeing a humanoid figure that was tall, which I did sense that it was very tall and dark, but it was like half animal, particularly, this is so funny, particularly a dog, which Little Wing just put up 2 dog emotes. It was like half dog, half human, huge, and it was an elemental, which that area that we lived in was heavily, heavily, heavily Native American at one point.
Yeah.
And Native Americans are very much connected to the elementals for some reason. I don't know what it is. Who knows if we'll ever know the history of all of that because it's all been lost, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're right. Not to interrupt you, but almost any time that you hear
Elemental, it's
a
connected with
Native
Native American.
American,
Yep.
yeah, American Indian, it's yeah, Native, yeah, yeah. There is a connection there somewhere.
So that area was very much Native American before white people came and screwed it all up. So they thought have kind of figured out that this was an elemental, and it wasn't that the elemental was trying to be hurtful or cause pain or anything like that, which it never did. It was just trying to protect the land, and that's why it seemed so scary to us because it was trying to be intimidating, like don't mess with this place because it's mine kind of thing. And to me, that makes so much sense, and I feel like that's what it was. I don't know how Frosty feels about it, but I think they hit the nail on the head there.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I think I would agree with that because, the first time anything feels like that, especially when you get scared, I think that the first thing that comes to your mind is like, it's a demon or something
Mhm.
like that. But I don't think either of us ever felt that it was like we couldn't figure out what it was. It was like a shadow. Like I've heard of a lot of stories about shadow people, and the behavior of a shadow person kind of fit, but I never saw the shadow. So it was very, I don't know. I was always kind of confused on what that could be. So it makes sense, I think, for me.
Fumi said, "That's crazy. It really wasn't the house that scared me. It was the yard and the surrounding area," which I think it
Yeah.
stayed. I
Hmm.
don't think it was really in the house during the day. I felt like it was only in there at night.
Yeah. And the house was new. I mean, that was something that hadn't been there, but
Yeah.
for a few years, really.
So
Yeah.
I had always thought that whatever it was had to be connected to the land because it wasn't the house. So for them to think that it was elemental makes sense because it would have been the land and not the house. So that's an interesting one that took
And, you know,
a weird turn
one thing
recently.
One thing about the elemental with that would be the fact that the family that lived, because the family owned like two of the plots of land, so they owned like 10 acres like side by side there, and they were paid for a company to come in and like clear cut the land too.
Hmm.
So
Yes, and
did
that
that
had
make
happened
something mad?
not that long before then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right before we moved in actually. So
yeah. Hmm.
hmm
It all makes sense. Does anybody in the chat have any experience or stories with elemental type of things? I feel like that's kind of a rarity, and that it's not something that gets talked about a whole lot. But it's definitely is something I think exists because clearly we had an experience with one. We didn't realize it when it was happening, but now we know. All right, Little Wing
this
said
is
this
weirding
is.
me
Oh, go
out
ahead. Go ahead.
because I was going to say earlier when you asked about hearing things that I sometimes see
See
a
a
shadow
shadow
dog
dog. Mm.
of all things.
So, Little Wing, does it scare you to see the dog, or do you feel like it could be your passed on dog? Because because we've had that conversation before about your doggy.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I think once you start looking, like earlier when we were, I think was it Lucy Lou or was it? I'd have to scroll back to chat. I'm sorry. Who was talking about they had seen their grandfather?
Yeah, I think that was Lucy. Hmm.
Yeah, like those can be different because it can still be scary if you know it's a loved one. But I've started, because I'm married to the medium Jenny Lee.
Hmm.
I think things that maybe would have scared me before, I've started recognizing, and I found them more comforting. So
Not scary at
not
all.
scary at all.
I've
Hmm.
been seeing
But
it
I've
since he
been seeing
passed
it
away.
since before
Or
he passed
before he passed away.
away. Oh, that's interesting.
Oh. Oh, that's interesting.
Hmm.
Did you have a dog as a child? Or maybe you just have like a dog spirit guide of some sort. Hmm. See, we learned something new every day. I did not know this about Little Wing. Lil
Mm-hmm.
Wang.
Now Wang.
Lil Wang. That's your rap name, by the way. It's your rapper name.
Little Wang.
Lil Wang.
Lil Wang.
Lilwang.
Lil Wang.
Lil Wang.
Like Wu Tang,
Yeah.
but Wang. Lil Wang.
Oh, good lord.
Many dogs. Yeah.
Okay, so it's probably one of them, or multiple ones. Depending on the size of the shadow. Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is, especially if it doesn't creep you out. So we're getting ready to move into our EVP section of
Yeah.
the evening.
Changing gears. Yeah.
Yes, Lo Wang. The
We'll see
first,
how well Medium Jenny Lee does with the
what?
technical side.
Well, I realized I already screwed up and I queued up the wrong one, so I need to. I gotta find my other one.
We are. It's the first time, so but we're at the. Hey, I think
And
it's
I
going well
thought
so
I
far.
had
So.
put it in here, and then now it's not in here, or maybe it is. Oh, here it is. Okay, so we have a set of things that happened, um, which includes an EVP, but then there's some activity that I also put in there, and we'll go through all of it. But this takes place at the Exchange Hotel, which is in Gordonsville, Virginia. And I'm going to let Frosty tell you a little tiny snippet of the history so you understand why it's haunted and why people go there to investigate.
Yeah. So we have a place somewhat close by called the Exchange Hotel, which was a hotel in the 1800s. There's a railroad that goes through that town, and so the reason that hotel came up was people the train would stop, people would get off. It became a place where there were fried chicken vendors, and people would get off the train and go get fried chicken. Um, and then at this hotel, they could stay the night. It was considered to be kind of an expensive, kind of more of a luxurious kind of hotel for the time. And so people could spend, it was like $1.25, which is a lot of money at the time,
What?
to stay for a night. Um, and then people who were unattached, single men and stuff like that, could just spend the night in like a tavern room or whatever. And the upstairs were for ladies and couples and families. But then during the Civil War, it became a Civil War hospital. So in 1862, it became a hospital, and it ended up being like one of the first
Little
like
chicken
major
wings.
hospitals during the Civil War. Um, so there were all kinds of, of course, people who died there and stuff because from the being a triage hospital. There was also a huge outbreak of contagious diseases there. Um, there were usually 4 to 6 doctors who worked there, 30 to 35 nurses. You would have all kinds of hospital stewards, people who were laundresses, people, washing the sheets, and cooks, and all kinds of staff who worked there. Just looking at some of the things, like over 70,000 people were treated at the hospital. Um, and there were some contagious outbreaks. I'm trying to remember what it was that got there. Do you remember?
We
I'm
got
trying to remember what there was some kind of thing that went through there.
we got confirmation through the one of our devices about what somebody had died of, and I can't remember what it was now. I didn't listen to that EVP or
They
that
had
recording.
and actually compared to other Civil War hospitals, they had like a really they had a really low mortality rate actually compared to other Civil War hospitals, and they're starting to contribute to the fact that the people at the hospital were using remedies that were made by African Americans and Monacan Indians.
Oh wow, I didn't know
So
that.
people who were more used to having to make um, homeopathic
Hmm.
homeopathic remedies. So people who were having to like make their own medicines, were the ones who made the medicines for this hospital, and it actually worked better than what the other hospitals were using.
Wow, that's pretty neat.
So today this hotel is open for like ghost hunting
It's a
tours and
museum.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Civil War Museum. They have so during the day it's Civil War Museum. At night, ghost hunting groups and stuff can go through there for fees to investigate. And there's been lots of different sightings. It's considered to be one of the most haunted places in Virginia, which has as far as the United States goes, has one of the longest histories.
Yeah.
One of the ghosts there is a cook named Anna, and supposedly there are EVPs that exist of someone saying, "Hey Anna, what are you cooking?" And they have an EVP saying, "I cook fried chicken."
Which we did try to talk to Anna. I don't know. I don't think we ever got any confirmation that we heard from Anna, but we did hear a couple of voices, which we're going to be playing. So to kind of introduce the first part of this recording, let me make sure the volume's okay. So we were at the Exchange Hotel with our paranormal group. So you'll hear some other people talking that are in the group, and we were in something called the Summer Kitchen, which actually I wanted to share a picture of what it looks like. Maybe I'll just share my
Yeah,
screen
and if
because
you're
I
not
have it
familiar,
up. Let me share my screen. Screen share. Not that. Okay.
summer kitchens were a popular thing with old homes. A place that the large amount of cooking could be done at a home, especially in the South. During hot summers where it would be
So
separate from the home.
Frosty,
Yeah.
my picture of the video's up, right?
Yes, it is
Okay.
up.
So that's the Exchange Hotel. I have a picture. I actually took of it not that long ago because we were walking past it. But the little building that's to the left is the summer kitchen, and that we were in there on the bottom floor trying to do an EVP session, and there was some pans hanging up above one of the ladies because it was the kitchen and they have it set up like it would have been during the Civil War. So there were some pans hanging above one of our fellow investigators, and one of the other investigators says, "Could you move the pans above Ginger's head?" But Ginger thought that she said, "There's hands above your head." And so we all start busting out laughing, and it's like we're having a good time because it was just so funny. So we're kind of wrapping up the discussion about the hands above her head, and you'll hear Roxanne say something, and then you'll hear a softer voice that is another investigator named Cecily. But then right after that, there's two sentences of whispers. Now, in the first part, it's going to be very, very quiet, and you might not be able to hear it. But Frosty separated it, and we turned it up some, so you'll be able to hear it again. It'll play again, and you can hear it a little bit louder. So here we go. Okay, so you might not have heard anything just there because it's so
We're not
quiet.
getting anything.
You're not getting anything at all?
No, we heard nothing.
Okay, well, it was
Oh, you
very.
know what? I'm sorry. I have I have the audio turned down. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
okay, let me turn it up.
Well,
Yeah.
somebody put in the chat if they could hear anything at all when I played that. You might not have been able to hear the EVP because it was like really, really too quiet, but it's getting ready to play again and it was louder. It's going to be louder. All right. So here it is that the EVP isolated and it's louder. Could anybody hear the whispering? Could they make out what it says? I'm going to play it again. Any luck? I'm coming back to the other screen.
Just like maybe. Oh, it's the window of eternal, the infinite window. Um, maybe, yeah, maybe turn your volume for that all the way up.
Turn the desktop
I don't know.
volume all the way up, perhaps?
Yeah, just for
Okay.
that, and then make sure to turn it back down so we don't
Yeah.
blow out people's
Okay.
ears.
So you don't say anything because you come through the desktop audio and it
I
will
will
be
mute.
okay. All right, I'm going to turn the desktop volume all the way up and I'm going to play it again. All right. I want to make sure I'm clicking on the right window. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to play it again. Oh, hold on. Let me back up a little bit further. All right. Coming back. I'll turn it back down so Frosty can talk. Okay. Was anybody able to hear the whispering or think they know what it says? The first part is like you can't really hear it at all. Like I've heard it before on headphones, but the second part is louder and you can hear what I think is a distinct sentence. I can play it again if anybody would like me to play it one more time. Or all right. Okay, I'm going to turn it up. I'm going to play it one more time. Okay, here we go. All right, anybody got any ideas of what it says? And then I'll tell you what I think it says and I'll play it again. So Frosty, we're seeing if anybody has any ideas, and then I'm going to tell them what it says, what I think it says, and then we'll play it again. Okay, can't tell what he's saying.
But at least, because that's often the way it is with EVPs, like you almost need to get the headphones on and like really be able to isolate it. But the fact that you guys can hear any of that, that's not any of us talking. That's
There's
yeah.
two voices. The first is a female voice, and you probably won't be able to hear it through this, and I wish we could make it louder even. But the first part is a female voice, and she says, and I can't remember exactly what it is now, but it's something like, watch out for the hands or something like that. Because remember, we're laughing about us, Ginger, thinking that Roxanne saw hands coming towards her. So she says
Watch out for
something,
the hands.
watch out for the hands. And then there's another voice that sounds like a male voice. And he says, can't stop the hands. Can't stop the hands. So now that you know what it says, Frost Giant, mute yourself again. I'm going to turn it all the way back up and listen for can't stop the hands. All right, here we go. Backing it on up. Ready? All right, did anybody hear it? Can't stop the hands. I love it. It's like they were joking around with us. It's like they were laughing about us laughing about it, which I thought was wonderful because not only does that show that it wasn't residual, it's not a residual haunting. It's a intelligent, really there, knows what's happening haunting. And it was two different voices. So there was two different people there for sure.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll work guys on for those in the future. Maybe isolating those and getting. I quickly tried to
Yeah.
make them a little louder before stream, but I'm sure we could get that maybe even a little louder for you guys.
Little Wayne wants to hear it one more time.
Okay.
Okay. Shush. Turn it all the way up. All right. Back it on up. Back it up. All right, here we go. Ready? Can't stop the hands. All right, Frosty, you can turn yours on. Yes, there is a lot of static,
Yeah. And
unfortunately.
so we're going to put a poll up in a little bit, just kind of
Oh,
talking
Loki
about.
was growling. Uh-oh. That's funny. So we have some other things that happened there that weren't EVP related that I would also like to share with you. So the next part of this is we're still in the summer. Oh, you heard it this time. Okay, good, Little Wing. Yeah, it was weird. It's a cool one. I really like that one.
It's one of those things, like, just to talk about it a little bit, and we're going to put a poll up in a little bit about EVPs, but um, it's interesting because of course, paranormal TV has become pretty popular. There's a million different ghost hunting shows out there, and so I've seen a lot of evidence of EVP from listening to late night radio and then these TV shows, and when we first started doing our own EVPs, for me, I don't know how you feel, Medium Jenny Lee, but I feel like they're more common than I anticipated them being. Like, we've gotten, just in the limited amount of hunting we've done, we've gotten a
Hmm.
lot of EVPs. And when you see someone else's EVP, it's easy to say, well, that could be anything. But
Hmm.
when you were there and you know that it's just like me and her in the room, or we know everyone who's in the room, and you
Hmm.
hear a
Voices
voice
that
that's
weren't
not
the
supposed to
people
be
that were
there.
there. Yeah.
Like, this voice doesn't belong. Where did that come from? And it's usually like this really. It's also interesting that it's usually a whisper,
Hmm.
you know. But uh, I don't know. Yeah, they're very interesting guys, and so that's why it's kind of hard to isolate them unless you get like a 1 in 1,000 EVP. You usually have to kind of isolate them and turn them up.
Yeah. And I don't know
So
about analyzing static for Salty. I'm not sure about that. I don't know how to get rid of it. I'm sure we could. Frosty could probably play around with the mixing of it and see if he can turn the static down or something. But like
yeah, I
like you
bet Boomby
said,
could do a really
oh
good job
yeah,
with it.
we need to send it to Foombus. Foombus, we're sending you
Yeah,
EVPs. Um, yeah, it was a quick thing that we had to do this afternoon, trying to get us straight. But maybe we can isolate that again. But before we move on to the next part of that, talking about whispering, the very first voice I ever heard with my ears. I don't have a recording of it anymore, but it was me and Wanderer, and he was a little guy. He was probably like 6 or something, and um we were in a very old building where I had an art studio that was, I think we most people that went there knew that it was haunted. And I was on the 3rd floor and the top floor was the 4th floor, and the 4th floor was unfinished. It was a mess. There was still stuff in there from when it had been uh like department store, and we were investigating, me and him together, because I'm a weird mom and I'm investigating with my little child. But anyway, we're standing on the stairs between the 3rd and the 4th floor, and we're asking, can you make a noise? And we're hearing knocking, and we're asking it, and we asked it again. If that was you, can you make the noise again? And instead of hearing a noise, we hear a woman's voice, clear as day, whisper. It was a loud whisper right by us on the stairs. And she says, "Yes." And we both flipped out. We were like, oh my God. Because we didn't just record it, we heard it with our ears. And it was crazy. And the only way I can explain it is it was like someone talking through a wall. Like if someone was trying to talk to you through the wall, that's what it sounded like. Like it was having to travel through something to get to us. Which, if it's another kind of dimension that's here but not here, that kind of makes sense, that it has to travel through something, and maybe that's why it sounds whispery. But I got chills now too, Wander, because that one was cool. That was a cool experience. Anyway, back to what were we talking about? The exchange and our
Did you? Sorry to
investigation.
interrupt.
Yeah,
Did you tell the story about the elevator there?
about it never working.
Well, remember
Or
where the
the
elevator
elevator.
came from?
Yes. Oh, yes. So the
That's the
elevator,
spookiest story.
the elevator sometimes, well, the elevator was original to the building, which so was really old, and it was POS, and it would get stuck, and you had to like jimmy it to like get it to go again. But the elevator wouldn't go to the fourth floor unless you had a key. And there was times, so we were on the third floor, and the elevator would come down from the fourth floor, and the door would open, and there would be nobody there. But you couldn't go to the fourth floor unless you had a key. So how did it get up there to come back down and then open all by itself? Yeah.
And there could be an explanation that like that's where the elevator would set itself or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know that to be true. And so
No.
when no one's allowed on the fourth floor and you're there after hours and the elevator was on the fourth floor, yeah, who took it to the fourth floor?
Yeah, who rode it to the fourth floor without a key and then had it come back down and open the door? I don't know. But they ended up renovating the whole thing and turned it into, guess what? Apartments! So somebody else is having these experiences in their apartment.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Because you know they're not going anywhere. They're there forever. Yeah. Good stuff. All right, so back to the Exchange Hotel. We don't have any more voices that we captured, but we do have some other cool stuff that happened there. And I think I'll go back to sharing the picture of it. That way you can see where it is that this is happening. So the next part that's going to play is still in the summer kitchen. We're doing our investigation still. We're trying to get anybody to interact with our equipment or talk to us so we can hear them on the recordings. And something happens.
If you touched that before, it's okay. You can continue to touch it. It didn't harm Ed. And if you just...
Yes.
There's like a funk over here. Funk.
Is there cobwebs here?
Oh, hold on.
I
messed it up. I was trying to turn it up. Let me go back. Because then I screwed up the screen by sharing the wrong thing. Okay. I was trying to turn it up because it wasn't loud enough. Oh, now I'm really messing things up. Where did it go? Ah! All right. We're skipping forward here. Okay. The noise is towards the beginning. Let's try it again.
If you touched that before, it's okay. You can continue to touch it. It didn't harm Ed.
That noise right there. The bonk.
If you just...
Yes.
There's like a funk over here. Funk.
So that was fun because it happened right next to me. I was standing in the corner of the room and there was a shelf next to me that was full of stuff, just all kinds of kitchen-y stuff. And it was like somebody flicked this like metal pot that was sitting right next to me. And it was so loud. It was like right in my ear. Like they flicked it. Punk. It was crazy. It was craziness. There was no explanation for that. And the next part involves Frosty going up the stairs. I'm going to turn this up before I go over to the other screen because it's not very loud. All right, here's some more things that happened in the exchange. Let me share the screen again. Okay.
Is there cobwebs here?
We probably would have knocked them all if you...
This time I felt comfortable.
Did you feel something touch your arm?
I feel like two very light brushes on my arm and one on my finger. But it felt like it would have been a cobweb, but there's no cobwebs there.
We would have all knocked the cobwebs down before you.
Just got touched again.
Hi, so I see the lights going off a little bit.
Jeremy's getting touched down on the stairwell.
Well, I had almost a full battery. It's now on red.
He said he felt it up his arm and then on
I
his
felt like
hand.
it would be a cobweb, but there's no cobwebs there. Twice in the arm and then the finger and then right here.
On your right side, going up the steps?
And I just saw his cobwebs, but I was the last one up and there's no cobwebs.
Yeah, we would have probably knocked him down.
And then he was standing still and he was like, oh, just happened again. Yeah.
Wow.
No more battery?
No battery.
Well, hello. So Jeremy's getting touched. We were walking up the stairs. Something drained the battery on her camera, and the EMF reader was all going off at the same time as we're going up the stairs of the summer kitchen to the second floor. It's a
Hello
lot
again,
of
Maggie.
stuff. Hey, Maggie. We're sharing some ghost hunting stuff that we've had happen
Electronic voice phenomena.
and other weird stuff. So, yeah, the second floor of the summer kitchen is supposed to be even more haunted than the bottom floor. So we went upstairs to do some investigating, and that was what was happening on the way up the stairs. Frosty had his own experience of being touched on his arm and his hand. And then there's one last tiny little snippet I have for you from the exchange that happens to have a fantastic story to go with it. Well, I don't know if it's fantastic. It's actually kind of tragic. It's a tragic story. Fantastic was the wrong answer. Anyway, let me play the last little bit for you. All right. Here we go. I was feeling a tightening in my throat. What is that about? So we had just gone into the upstairs, one of the upstairs bedrooms that's supposedly haunted by a Civil War soldier who does not like women. And our fellow investigators had gone there before and investigated, and they definitely had some negative experiences with this man spirit. So we had just gotten the room, we were getting situated, and I felt a tightening on my throat. And at this point in time, it's like October of 2019, and I'm just starting to realize that I'm a medium, and I'm just starting to figure out what that means and what I can do. And I didn't realize why I was feeling that until I came home and I started investigating what had happened to this man. And according to one of the stories that I found, which, doesn't necessarily have to be true because it was on the internet. We all know the things necessarily not true on the internet. But the story is that there was I don't know if he was a general, but he was a higher ranking soldier in the Civil War. He was staying at the Exchange Hotel with his fiancée or his girlfriend, and he caught her cheating with one of the doctors. And he was very upset, and he ended up killing her, and then he hung himself in the woods. Now, the fact that, all of that whole story sounds a little bit fishy. Oh, it's a general, Civil War general, and he killed his girlfriend, and then he hung himself. It all kind of sounds like it, kind of blown out of the probably what really happened story, exaggerated. But the fact that I felt the tightening on my throat, which is exactly what it felt like. It felt like what a rope would feel like if it was on your neck, tightening, is very interesting. Even if the story is not true, it could be multiple things. It could be that there really was somebody who hung themselves there, whether it's that story or not, and that I was feeling that residually. Or what a lot of paranormal investigators have been kind of experiencing or figuring out in more recent times is that the stories that people tell of a place can cause paranormal activity just as much as things that actually happen, because our thoughts and our feelings are way more powerful than we think they are, than we realize they are. So even if people had been telling a story for so long about somebody hanging themselves, I could have been feeling that energy instead of it actually being someone who did hang themselves, which is a whole nother topic all to itself than just ghosts. But there you have it. So that was our exchange, the Exchange Hotel experiences. It's a good thing you just did the hydrate because I'm out of water.
All right, so we have a couple more EVPs we wanted to show tonight. One was another investigation that we did at Wilderness Battlefield, which was a Civil War battlefield here in Virginia. We just happened to be a place that we were like kind of walking and hiking, and we did some audio recording. And so I guess, do you have that queued up?
Yeah, it was kind of an
Okay.
impromptu investigation just because we had time to do something. So we decided to stop there and do a little investigating. So I apologize for the massive amount of noise that happens in this recording. There's an airplane. I think you might hear a truck go by. There's a lot of sounds of us walking. So there's a lot of irritating noises in this. But something
But
happens.
you shouldn't need to have to strain to hear this one. This is a
No,
pretty good one.
it does happen while the airplane is going over, but you will hear it. And then a little bit of time elapses where we're talking, and then I say something. I'll tell you no more.
Yeah, and I don't. And just to say, we didn't hear this when we
No,
were there.
we
This
did
is
not
only
hear it with our
heard,
ears.
and you would have heard this if you were walking in the woods with the echo and all that. This is something we only heard on the recording. Listening back to it later.
Yes, it did not happen where we heard it in real time. Okay, I do have a picture for this one too, so I'll share the screen again. So this is a picture I took of the Wilderness Battlefield in a particular place where there was a lot of soldiers that passed away, and they just left them there to rot. They never even got buried. It's disgusting. Anyway, here we go. I see blood on his uniform, like splatter. He's smiling though. Like, maybe he's okay. I'm going to, oh no, here it is. This is what I felt. What it says uneasily. Like, I kept feeling like anxious about fighting. You know, like you're just sitting here waiting. You don't know when it's going to happen. 30,000 casualties. Can you imagine? I can't even imagine.
To be honest with you, that's literally a lot for a Civil War battle. Oh. It's a lot for a battle, but it's not even near the rank.
Ooh, I just heard a cannon. Whew. I guess they would have had cannons here too, right? All right. So, did everybody hear the two things? the thing that happens, and then I hear it in my head not that long afterwards.
Yeah.
There is a
So do we
cannon
want to
blast.
isolate that?
Yes, let's go
Maybe
back.
isolate that just one more
I
time.
won't show the picture again because that's too much work. Okay, so it happens around 37 seconds. Listen for the cannon blast. Now remember, we did not hear this when it happened. There you go. Pow! And then about a minute goes by and I hear it in my head. And I actually it's like I felt it reverberate in my chest even. And which is so weird because why would it have been delayed like that? Like I don't understand
Yeah,
how that happened.
Salty Frog said he heard a gunshot, and it does. When you have headphones on and you turn it up, you can hear kind of more resonance to it. That it is actually, it's not like a large cannon. I kind of went through some research of cannons being fired to try to get the right tone out of it, and yeah, definitely, it kind of matched up with one of the smaller cannon artillery used in the Civil War.
Yeah,
Um,
Frosty found
so
like a video of people firing the same size that they would have been using at that particular battlefield, and it sounded very similar because it wasn't like a huge cannon they were using; they were using the smaller ones. So a ghostly cannon shot.
yeah, and interesting too that you talk about hearing a cannon just a little bit,
Yeah,
after.
because I was feeling into a soldier that was there, and he seemed to be walking with us, which is what I was talking about at the beginning, and then the cannon thing happened. It was kind of cool. All right, so yeah, when you know what to listen for, it helps. Um, this next thing that Frosty's going to force us all to listen to will change your life, and you need
Well,
to have
maybe.
a warning. There needs to be a warning. If you are easily sensitive to horrifying, terrifying um, things, you might want to go away from it and come back, or put it on mute.
Yeah. So if you were easily, the next EVP we are going to listen to is, in my estimation, the most definitive EVP I've ever heard. Uh, you can come to your own conclusions about it, of course.
And it's not
But I
ours.
think
It's not ours.
it is it is either um, probably one of the longest and best recorded EVPs ever, or it's a complete fraud. Now, this EVP was recorded by a group called the GIS, which is the Ghost Investigator Society. Um, they have been on a lot of late night radio shows, including with Art Bell on um, Midnight in the Desert and Coast to Coast AM and other shows. They have a pretty good methodology. They never published any books or tried to make any money off any of their findings. So that's something to kind of talk about going into it. They weren't out trying to make money. Um, they were just trying to record as many EVPs as possible, and they did a ton of EVP work and investigations. So this recording we're going to listen to is not ours.
Nope.
This comes off of one of Art Bell's broadcasts of Dark Matter with GIS, a guy named Brendan Cook and Jimmy Chunga. Two members of the GIS were with him. So all rights to this audio and everything go to Art Bell and Dark Matter. But we're going to play that EVP just to kind of see what is possibly some of the best EVPs that have been recorded. And this one, not just in clarity, I think, but also in length. It's a very long EVP. And just a little background on this EVP, it was investigation done at a place that it was originally a livestock exchange, so places where cattle and stuff would be sold. It then was turned into an asylum, and then later turned into like a recovery place for alcoholics and stuff like that later. So it was a cattle exchange, an asylum, and also a hospital and recovery facility. And the I think the most important thing to know before you listen to this, the group GIS said that this building was at this time abandoned. No one was using it for anything. It was old and kind of run down, and there was no running water to the building. So the building wasn't even hooked up to water. There was no running water in the building.
All right. Fair warning. This one is terrifying.
I'm not going to play that one again.
All right. Yeah. Get your shit and pants on, as Negan would say from The Walking Dead. Oh my god. Like, I hate that one. I
So,
hate it. I can't
what
even
do we
believe
think
that.
about this one,
I
chat?
can't believe that he made me play this one. It was awful. That one's awful. I hate it. I hate it.
So the GIS when they're introducing this, they talk about the fact that the guy, so one guy in a room, the rest of the group was somewhere else. He went in there, turned off all the lights to record this, but it was just an empty room with like a cement floor and like walls. There was nothing. He said there was absolutely nothing in the room. It was a completely empty room with a cement floor, and he heard nothing while he was in there. He turned off the lights. He asked some questions, recorded for a while, and then left, and then heard this later after when they were going back over the evidence. Do we want to play it one more time?
Oh my god, no. I can't do that one twice. I really can't. And actually I cut it off right when Art Bell said I'm not playing that one again. And God bless Art's soul.
But he does.
I'm not
He
going to
does.
play that one again. I can't. If you
he
want
played it like 6 more times.
if you want to hear it, why don't you put the
Yeah.
link up in the Discord channel? Share it in the chat channel, and that way if anybody wants to listen to the whole, you can listen to the whole. It's a
Whole
almost
episode, yeah.
3-hour episode, and it has that EVP and a whole bunch of other crazy ones. But
That specific.
I
let me
can't
bring it up.
I can not personally listen to that one again because it's terrifying. It sounds like a lady being drowned by like a demon, and it's awful.
Yeah, and she says, it sounds like to me, she says, "I can't breathe."
Yeah, I can't do that one. It's too much. But I hope you all enjoyed it. Have you enjoyed that one? Well, it's all Frosty. Oh, Maggie. Thanks, Maggie. It's not really that it's scary, it's that it's emotional to me. To me, it feels emotional. Like I'm experiencing what's happening to this person, and that makes me really uncomfortable. And I don't want to experience that, and I don't want to even pretend, like I don't even want to experience it from a distance or from a minuscule amount. Like I can't do it. All right, Frosty has a poll that he's going to put up. And while he does such, I'm going to take a tiny little break. I will return.
All right. So the poll for this is, do you think EVPs are proof of the paranormal? So, essentially, there's lots of EVP evidence. It's hard to get evidence for the paranormal. I think people are, as technology is increasing, we're getting more and more ways to try to research ghosts and evidence to get scientific evidence of the paranormal. But this poll is talking because we have some evidence that like me and Medium Jenny Lee have gotten with MAPS, our ghost hunting group, and it's been done quite a bit. Seems to be pretty easy actually to get electronic voice phenomena. So just wanted to get everyone's opinion out there on what if they thought that EVPs were definitive evidence of ghosts, of the afterlife, of something something beyond this realm. Let's see. Moonlight Maggie said yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that poll up for a little bit.
Oh yeah, I need to do the. Do you think EVPs are proof of the paranormal? Yes. Not all of them. Some of them are probably horseshit, but some of them are definitely
for sure
proof of the paranormal. Ooh, we got a
And
not sure. Good.
I'll already admit I am the not sure.
Oh, you're the not sure.
I'm the not sure because that EVP to me is, I want to feel like that's definitive proof of the afterlife, of electronic voice phenomena. But I wasn't there when that one was recorded, so
You don't know, yeah.
even though I want to say I trusted GIS, and I think I do. If someone were to ask me like, what do you think about them, I would say they were pretty stand-up people, namely because they've never tried to make any money off what they do, which I think is, but when people are lying, usually they're trying to benefit from it in some way, and they never did.
Like the curse lady that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Little Wing says she doesn't see the poll. Mine is just right up at the top of the chat window, and it's kind of minuscule, like short. And then you open it up, and it shows all of the.
But we've even caught our own EVPs.
Yeah, when you've experienced it yourself, and you know that it wasn't and it couldn't have been anything else.
I would almost say there's like a percentages that you have to add to it. Like I would say I'm 90% sure that EVPs are proof of the paranormal, but for me, there's always this little bit of like, man, like it's still not quite like the.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I mean, you know how I am. I'm a little bit. I'm huge. I'm really into the paranormal, but I still am. I wouldn't be considered a skeptic by most skeptics, but I'm probably a little bit of a skeptic when I'm around believers, I guess, maybe.
Frosty's a Gemini, so one day he believes in all of it, and the next day he's like, it was bug, it was static. Yeah, whatever. Little Wing has admitted that she is the other not sure. That's good. That's good. We need the people who are willing to question things. All right, so the next segment of our show is some more stories, but also some photographs. So this is moving into photographic evidence of the paranormal. So we heard
Let me
voice.
ask one more.
Oh, we did audio, and now we're going to do photos.
So one question for Little Wing, because she said that I'm the other not sure. I just need more proof that it's real and not created. So my question for Little Wing there, because we were both the not sure votes, is do you think it would be different if you recorded an EVP? Like if you did a session you knew you were in the room and then you listened back and heard a voice that you knew wasn't there. Would that be proof for you? Or do you think that maybe it could be like radio interference or something like that?
Wander said, I definitely think sometimes people's minds reach for things, but sometimes you just can't deny it if you were there. And I definitely agree. There
Yeah.
are, I will not name any names or throw any shows under the bus, but there are definitely some shows out there where they're definitely reaching for things, probably for ratings. All right,
Yeah, for
there's
sure.
our results. 67% said yes, it is proof of the paranormal, and 33% is not entirely sure that EVPs are proof of the paranormal. Thank you for participating in this poll. All right. Oh, well,
All right,
thanks.
now we get into
Thanks, Lo Wang.
the
Now we get into
we're wrapping up here, but we got a couple
photos.
things left. Yep.
We
The
have some
plantation story.
photos, scary photos. All right, let me All right, so my father, you would never guess that I come from a long family of weirdos. Okay, a long history of the strange and unusual people. I myself am strange and unusual. So my dad's a weirdo too, and he has tons of crazy stories that like are just a mess. And I had started recording him saying them out loud, so I would have them so we could always remember how weird he is. Um, and this is a conglomeration of a bunch of different stories about a particular place. And the place is the Meadowville Plantation, which is also here in Virginia, which no longer exists. I'm not entirely sure when it was built, but I know the whole Meadowville kind of history and area was started in the 1600s. Like it's one of the first families that came over, like in our little area where we used to live. And the plantation house itself, my guesstimate would be that it was built in the 1700s, probably mid 1700s. So when my father was living there as a young man, this was in the early 70s. So, at this point, the house is probably at least 200 years old, if not slightly older than that. And him and two of his friends were living there together. And they had some weird stuff happen. So I'm just going to kind of summarize it for you. All right, so we're at the Meadowville Plantation. It's around 1973. And he's living there with two of his friends. His friend Johnny had the main bedroom. He had a bedroom behind him, and his friend Steve had a bedroom that was all the way down the hallway. And one night, it was just him and Johnny, and they were woken up in the middle of the night. Or no, him and Johnny were just there together. Steve wasn't there. He was woken up in the middle of the night, and someone was calling his name. So he got up and he went to Johnny's room, and Johnny was snoring. So he was dead asleep, couldn't wake him up. So he thought maybe he was just talking in his sleep. He went back to his bedroom, back to his room, tried to go back to sleep, and he heard it again. And he hears it even more distinctly this time. It says, "Vince, is that you? Vince, is that you?" So he gets up again and he goes to his friend's room, and the guy's still asleep. So my dad's a gun enthusiast. Let's just put it that way. So he gets a weapon. He starts going around the house with a flashlight, trying to see who the hell is in the house with him, because he hears somebody calling his name, and the only other person that is living in the house at the moment is asleep. So he goes through the whole entire house. He still keeps hearing someone calling his name. "Vince, is that you?" And every time he would get close to where he thought the voice was, the voice would get further away. And he never did find out what it was or who it was, because he went through the whole entire house and the whole entire house was empty. So somebody is messing with him in the middle of the night. That's the first part of his story. Let's see what's going
But he
on
didn't
here in the
shoot
chat.
anything.
He didn't shoot any holes in the wall or anything. Luckily, he didn't shoot his friend anymore either.
Yeah.
Maggie said she downloaded a spirit box on her phone. Don't do that. Don't do the spirit box on your phone. My dad likes to use that all the time, and he likes to share his stories about what he gets on his phone spirit box. Yes, Phasmophobia is a fun ghost hunting video game. Yeah, the spirit box. Yep. Maggie said at Little Wing, I'm telling you, I'm happy that I know how to protect myself in my house. Yep. I had to sage
I
at
had
1
to
o'clock in
stage
the morning.
1 a.m. I
Yeah.
think that's happened to us before, hasn't it? Fairly recently. Didn't you have to do? Yeah.
Here? In this
Yeah.
house? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we won't go into that
No.
story. All
No.
right, so
Yeah.
here's some more fun things that happened at the Meadowvale plantation. So, more things that would happen to him. He had a fireplace in his bedroom, and he would put stuff on the mantle. And then the stuff wouldn't be there anymore, or it would be moved somewhere else. And one night he tried to stay up to see if he could actually see the stuff moving around on the mantle. And he stayed up as long as he could, by candlelight, no less, just to make it spookier. And he watched the mantle, and he's watching the mantle, and he dozed off. So the whole time he's watching it, nothing moved. As soon as he goes to sleep, something moves. Another weird stuff that would happen, they had 2 dogs. One of the dogs refused to come in the house, ever. Dog would stay outside. One of the rooms in the house, which just happened to be his friend Steve's room, keep in mind, this is a house that was built in the 1700s. No air conditioner, no heating. The room that he stayed in stayed 48 degrees no matter what time of year it was. Even in the summertime, it was cold. And that room just happened to be the old nursery. Another interesting event that happened to him while he's at the plantation was they had some wiring issues. So he went up into the attic, crawling around up there with a flashlight, looking for copper wires, trying to fix stuff. And he hears someone crawling behind him. And every time he turns around, there's nothing there. And let's see, what else? Oh, this is not scary, but just funny. They all rode motorcycles, and they kept them in the library. The last part of this, here is the photographic evidence. Okay, if anybody follows me on Instagram or Twitter, I used this picture as my my photo for the day. All right, so I'm going to share my screen again. This picture is of the Meadowvale plantation. So this was taken in the 70s, shortly before it was torn down. So like I said, it doesn't exist anymore. And actually, this picture was printed wrong, so it should be flipped the other way around. Now, here's the ghost part. This window up here, there's something peeking out of the window. Here's the close-up. Do you see this little white thing sticking out into the window? My dad and mom both swear that there was no one in the house when they took that picture. Nobody was in there. But to them, it looks like there's a face in the window. As a kid, this picture used to hang up in the living room. So no wonder I turned out like I am, right? This picture was hanging up in the living room, and to me, it always reminded me of the traditional, like, person wearing a sheet ghost. Like, that's what it makes me think of. What do you guys think? Is it just something in the window? Is it a reflection? Or is this really like a little ghosty person peeking out? Bye, Maggie.
Yep. Take care. Oh, and also I put up. We're getting at 9:50, and we wanted to make sure we ended tonight by 10 o'clock.
Oh, yeah,
Since
here
we
we
don't
go.
have a long queue for tarot readings tonight. So I went ahead and put up our last poll tonight for we're trying to think of a name for the show moving forward if we continue to do this and you guys liked it. So we had some ideas that I've come up with. And if you don't like any of those, then feel free to put suggestions in chat. But anyway, we're just throwing some stuff around as we're
Yeah.
figuring this out. So
Bump in the Night, The Spook Show, The Paranormal Hours. We hadn't talked about that one. I think none of the above. That should be the name of the show. The None of the Above Show. Starring. I don't know which one of those I like the most. I don't know which one to vote on.
And for the future, we'll probably start this stream on this channel. But in the future, especially if we start talking about things that maybe people aren't interested in, it's a possibility we could move it to my channel. So if you want to stay up to date, just in case that happens, you can follow me on Twitch at Giant of the Frost. So feel free to go there and follow me if you haven't already.
All right, so it looks like I missed some things. Maggie said my grandpa even came to say danger, danger in the box. Oh my God.
Will Robinson? Danger Will Robinson? Is that what that was from?
I guess so. Little Wing needs to sage her new house.
Danger Will Robinson.
Little Wing, we can do it together when we come visit next weekend.
Yeah.
I have sage. I got a lot of it. My stories are scary. I'm so sorry, Maggie. Yeah, you don't have to sprinkle salt, Little Wing. I just do some salt water and I put the spray bottle on like the mist.
Spooky.
And I mist it instead of like salty. Yeah, danger, danger would freak me out a little bit. So Maggie thinks it is a ghost. Yes, yes. I think, as a kid, I always just assumed that it was a ghost because that's what my parents told me it was. They're like, there's a ghost in the window. There's nobody in the house. But now that I've seen it as an adult, I'm like, kind of question it. It could be something that was close to the window. I don't know if it was a reflection of like the column because there's no other reflections of the columns in any of the other windows. But it could have been something close to the window that we're seeing through the window. Or it was a ghost. Who knows? Who knows? All right. I have a couple more pictures for you. The next one is from St. John's Church, which is in Richmond, Virginia. And it happens to be a very famous place because if you know your American history at all, you might have heard of the man Patrick Henry in his Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death speech. And this is the church, still the same building where he said his famous speech was at the St. John's Church, which is on Church Hill in Richmond. They call it Church Hill because of this church. So I'm going to put up a picture I took of it. This was in 2004. This picture is a normal picture. Here we go. So this is the church, St. John's. It's surrounded by a cemetery, as you can see. And actually, there's some famous people buried in this cemetery. I believe it's not Edgar Allan Poe's wife, but his cousin or something. I can't remember exactly. She's buried just on the other side of the church in the corner. So there's a relative of Edgar Allan Poe that's buried there. And I think some other notable figures. So I took this picture, and then I took this picture. Back to back. And I want to zoom in. I need to move my veil out of the way so I can see. Let me show you some things here. Here's a case of orbs that don't make any sense. Because we've said, especially in my streams, that when there's an orb that goes floating past, that I've determined that a lot of times it's dust. because I've seen it come off of the tissues or, something. There was the one time that I saw something with my eyes, and I know it wasn't dust, but that was once. This photograph is taken in the middle of the day. It's outside, and I had taken a picture right before this one of the same thing. And look at all of these diamond-shaped orbs. There's one here, there's here, they're here, they're here, they're here. There's one on the shutter. You can see very clearly because it's contrasted against the black. They're everywhere. There's one in the grass. There's a bigger one in the grass. There's one against the bricks here. I mean, they're just all over the place. It's craziness. It doesn't make any sense to me. There's one up here in the sky. And at this point in time, this was a long time ago, 2004. I just told you guys a little while ago that I didn't really start understanding that I had mediumship abilities until 2019. But as I was standing there taking these pictures, before I even realized that there was all these orbs in there, I felt an overwhelming sense of a lot of spirits being there. And it was like they were happy that I was there, that they were happy I was visiting. And then I get home and I'm looking at these pictures, and lo and behold, the whole thing is full of orbs. Another thing I cannot explain. What do you guys think about that one? It's like, I almost feel like I could explain it away if the other picture wasn't there to show what it actually looked like without them. Oh, Little Wing knows his wife was his cousin. You're right. You're right. Virginia Clem. I don't know if she's the one that's buried there, though. It very well could be. Or you looked it up. Yeah, she was a teenager.
Things are different then.
A lot, clearly. I'm gonna marry my cousin. She's only 13 and I'm 25. You wanted to get married there? It's clearly a very spooky place. Salty said that she's gotten orbs on her surveillance. Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about orbs, but that one doesn't make any sense to me.
I think orbs are often very easily explained, with like bugs or dust. So many times I see photos of the orbs, and I'm
like,
just,
if I get this
you can
tissue
tell
out,
right away that it's like a gnat
wave it
or something
around,
like that,
it's probably going to
reflecting.
cause some orbs in the air,
But those orbs specifically kind of have like a diamond shape to them.
Yeah.
Like they're not just this blob of light being reflected. So, yeah.
And they're in front of things. It's in front of the shutter. It's in front of the bricks. And I have
as you're saying it, there's orbs going by you right now
because of the tissue. Yeah. I did the tissue, right? There's my proof.
I just saw like 3 orbs.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some now too that are going by. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I can make the orbs, so I know that they're not all paranormal. You had orbs follow you around the corner. Oh my god. Yeah, see? Dust doesn't do that. So not to my knowledge anyway. Oh, you wanted to get married in the Poe Museum. Yeah, that would be a cool place. I know they do. They do them. I need to vote on this before it ends. I'm going to click this one too. Kind of like that one.
I hadn't even brought that one up.
No, we hadn't talked about it.
Yeah, I originally was thinking like the paranormal podcast, but it's not really a podcast.
Yeah.
So
that was the winner.
The paranormal hour doesn't work because I don't want it to just be an hour long. So
Yeah.
we could go with the paranormal hours.
I guess we have to make sure that's not taken though. I don't want to take somebody else's name.
Interesting.
But yeah, that one's weird. And I don't know how many of you know this who don't know me for real, but I have a photography background also. So I know the kinds of things that can happen in a photograph, and that is not one of them. It was a digital picture, but I've probably at this point in my life taken like 10,000 digital pictures, and never, ever have I ever gotten anything like that except for that one time. So I can't explain that one. All right, we have one more last creepy one for you. Before you go to bed to go brush your teeth, wash your face up a little bit, get ready for bed in your bathroom, let me creep you out one more time. This is from an apartment that we lived in that just happened to be the backyard was the Veterans Cemetery. Dun dun dun. Okay. All right. So the premise of this picture is that I was doing a photo prompt a month, like it was a daily photo prompt for a month. So every day there was a prompt. I'm supposed to take a picture that represents that prompt, and that day's was water. So I was in the bathroom, and I turned the faucet on. I was using my phone camera, and I got down low, and I was taking some pictures of the water running out of the faucet. I did a little bit of editing to it on my phone with some filters to make it a different color. I posted it on Facebook. Never saw anything weird about it. And one of my Facebook friends says, "Who's the lady standing behind you?" Oh, like, what? What are you talking about? And she circled it, sent it to me, and I'll be damned if there isn't a lady reflected in the faucet. Let me show it to you. But Salty Frog said, so you would know about sun inference. Yes, exactly. I know all about, like, the beams of light coming into the lens and causing the sun rays and all that, and that wasn't what it was. All right, let me get the first picture up here. Okay. So this is the picture that I took for my water prompt. This is the picture I took for my prompts for the day for water. Put it up. Didn't think anything about it. It's an okay picture, whatever. I'm just trying to get it done. And then my friend says, "Who's this lady standing behind you?" Here's a picture close up where she's circled. Now, clearly it's pretty blurry and you can't really make it out. But to me, it looks like a woman with a dark shirt, long sleeve. There's her hand. Here's her hair. Her hair's like shoulder length. Here's her face. You can see where the eyes and the nose would be. So this is the original picture.
Like she's standing kind of in the crack of the door.
Yes. There she
There's
is.
a door. You can see the door reflected in there.
Mm-hmm.
So the door should be empty, but there's
Yeah.
somebody standing in the door.
And there's the close-up, which is blurry, but you can see her. Okay. This is what I tried to recreate the picture like any good ghost hunter would do, right? So I was like, all right, let's see if it was just some weird reflection, if it was just the sink being dirty, or if it was something that was behind me. So I went back and I recreated the picture the best that I could. You can see the empty doorway. There was nothing there this time, as it should have been. The door is empty. So if the door is empty, who the hell's that lady? Very strange. Very strange. And I don't know, we did live by the cemetery. So she was wandering through.
And we had little kids,
Mm-hmm.
but you can tell in that picture that the woman comes up, pretty far up that doorway. So it would have to be at least a teenager or adult, and none of them were in. No one like that else was in the house.
No, there's nobody that lived in our apartment that looks like that at all. And it's not me, because I'm the one taking the picture from a different angle. It's clearly not you, because you would be way
Mhm.
taller and bald. And yeah, our
Yeah, I'd be
children,
ducking. I would have been ducking through the
yeah, our
door.
children were small.
Uh-huh.
Wander is a boy with blonde hair, and our daughter was very small at that time, like what, like 2 or 3. Um, yeah, I can't explain that one.
All right. Well, I guess it's time to start wrapping up the stream. 10:05.
Yep, time to go to bed. Boo.
So we'd really like to thank everybody who came by tonight. Lucy Lou, Salty Frog, definitely, Foombi, Little Wing. Thanks everybody who came by tonight to check out this different show.
Yeah.
I know there were lots of lurkers tonight too. We appreciate all of you who come
Thanks
by
for
and
lurking.
to check us out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maggie and Salty Frog and Wander and Foombi, Lil Wang. And Hellspawn Queen came in at the beginning, and Rose was here.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh,
there she is. I just said it.
I heard, lurkers make Twitch, from what I understand. So,
Yeah.
just because you want to hang out and watch, that's
pretty
that's
much.
fine.
If I watch Twitch, that's what I'm doing. I hate to say.
Yeah, I'm a lurker too. So I think most people are. So, yeah. So just let us know in Discord, or
why don't you do one more poll? Do a little poll real quick before we get off. Make it a short one.
Okay.
Do you want to see more of these? Yes or no? I can't promise I'll wear the witch hat every time, though. This was just a special Halloween episode. Oh, yay. Thanks, Salty. Oh, hey, EGB. We're just wrapping up for the night, but I'll be back on tomorrow night to do readings at my usual time. 8. We were doing a fun Halloween special tonight with ghosts and stuff, ghost stories. But I will be on tomorrow nights to do readings. All right, here's our poll. Quick poll. Do you want to see more of these? Yes, no, or Frosty added, I just want the readings. What are you doing? There's no readings?
There's no queue.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Oh, EGB, you think you might be pregnant? This would be a good thing, but I know that it's a scary thing for you because of what has previously happened. We can talk about it tomorrow night. Maybe we'll do a reading for it. Oh, that's not fun. Throwing up is no fun.
You have lots of that.
Is this going to be going on YouTube or something?
Yeah, we'll probably post this up on.
Yeah, we could put it up on
Medium
YouTube.
Genially's YouTube.
Or maybe we need to go ahead and make the Paranormal Hours YouTube and put it up on there.
Or the Witching Hours. Maybe that would work.
The Witching Hours. Then I have to wear the hat every time. I can't do this every time, people.
No. So, yeah.
I'm going to vote too because I want to do more of these. I thought it was fun.
I think.
Good, EGB. Yes, come back tomorrow night. I'll give you a reading.
We would really like to bring guests on in the future. We have, we know some people who know a lot about tarot, that know the history of tarot, that we could have a good chat about that with, and people who do ghost hunting.
People who know a lot more about crystals than I do.
Crystals. And then obviously, if you get into the weird... if you get into aliens and government conspiracies or all kinds of things that are, maybe often
weird history,
kind of weird or taboo or whatever.
Yeah.
We just want to create an open forum, a night to sit around and
That's
talk
right.
about that stuff
Little
and
Wing
learn about
did
stuff.
suggest witching hour before.
Did you? Okay, well that might be it. That's my favorite right now.
We have to make sure it's not taken
The
first.
witching hour.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got 6 votes. Everybody that voted so far said they wanted to see more of these. So good.
Okay, awesome.
Salty Frog
Yeah,
said, I like it.
exactly.
This is the only social outlet I have to be
Yeah.
candid.
A place where you can have open dialogue and open thought, a place where people can come on and talk about all kinds of things that you might not agree with or believe in, but you still give them an outlet to talk about those things and to think about it objectively.
Yep.
Um,
And not
there's
feel
all kinds
weird
of
about
paranormal
sharing
stuff that I think,
weird stuff.
yeah, there's all kinds of shows I've listened to in the past where I'm like, man, I really don't believe that, but that was a really cool story and it was fun to talk about, but that guy was nuts. But it was still fun. And so that's kind of what I want to try to recreate with shows moving forward, where we can talk about all kinds of things.
Yep.
And just have fun with it. Where people can say what they want to say and think what they want to think and put what they've studied or.
You're going to get me
or,
going on the MC Hammer Adams Family song here in a second.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep rolling with that. Yep. Is that too legit? No, that's not too legit, is it? Anyway, okay. The Weird Witch
All right.
Show. That sounds fun too. We'll figure it out. We'll get a name going and we'll keep doing these. Can't promise it'll be every week, but maybe if we can at least get once a month or once every other week, that'd be good.
Yeah, get it going. Yeah,
Yes, I
sounds
love
good.
my community. I love you guys.
Well, that's true, Salty Frog. Twitch provides an anonymous kind of thing, so people can say what they want to, bring up these things, and they don't necessarily have to out themselves.
Yep.
If they don't feel comfortable with that, we have many friends who do things that are weird, but they kind of do it behind.
No, I'm on the
the
screen.
internet because they can be anonymously, but not.
I'm not anonymously.
Yeah.
But.
No. Me
All right. Yeah. All right, my loves. Well, I will be back on tomorrow night, the normal time, for the normal stuff. And we will get another one of these planned out, hopefully with a special guest to share their information. We really, really, really appreciate everybody coming in and participating in our polls and chatting and sharing your stories and listening to all of our craziness. And I hope everybody has a wonderful Friday. The weekend's almost here. Hallelujah. All right.
And happy early Halloween to everybody.
Yes. But I'll see you guys tomorrow night. So I'll just tell you tomorrow. All right. Good night. Mwah.